Yo, Ben,
What is up, my brother? What is up?
you know
Big
what's up. You
fight night.
know exactly what's up.
Yeah, huge fight night tomorrow night. Israel Adesanya against Alex Pereira, part three. First time it's in the cage in the octagon. But what's up, bro? You excited for this fight?
Look, I'm gonna keep it real this podcast, this MMA hour. No, I'm not excited. Izzy, to me, he's a little bit of a snake oil salesman. Keeps telling me his fights are gonna be electric, and I'm ready to turn him off at the end of the fifth round because they are some snooze fests. So I should be a lot more excited because given he's getting an opponent that is game. But I just can't get excited for Izzy anymore. He's a snake oil salesman. Tells Cannonier, I'm prepared to die, and then goes and taps his gloves for 5 minutes. I can't. He's not my guy.
Yeah, his fights have been pretty underwhelming for the most part. He considers himself to be a big showman, but his last couple of fights have been pretty underwhelming in that aspect of it. On the other hand, though, I am excited. I am excited for this fight. We'll get into it a little bit later, but I mean, this is a guy that Izzy has never defeated, and he's already fought two times. So
Yeah.
I am excited for it because I think that maybe we could hear and new.
Okay. Well, let's get into it, Ben. Today we do have some partners. We are growing our brand a little bit. That sounds funny to say out of my mouth. I don't know. I'm not used to saying stuff like that, but the brand is growing, and we did partner up with the local wrestling spot. Shout out Ramon Rodriguez, Warrior Wrestling Academy. We do got an ad to run real quick.
Hello everyone, this is Ramon Rodriguez, head coach of Warrior Wrestling here in Palmview. We'd like to go ahead and invite everyone here in the Valley to come and get some wrestling. We're located in 910 East Veterans Boulevard, Suite 11. If you're a wrestler and you want to get a little bit more technique in your repertoire, you can go ahead and come with us. We have personal training for adults, and we do offer classes for elementary all the way to high school. We have our doors open for anyone that wants to improve their wrestling. We teach folk style, freestyle, and Greco-Roman wrestling. Everything that's in Warrior Wrestling is wrestling centric. All our equipment is made for wrestling specific. Anything that'll give you resistance training to build the muscles for wrestling. We have a state-of-the-art facility. We're the only academy south of San Antonio for wrestling. So what we're trying to bring more wrestling to the Valley so that we can compete at a state level and hopefully a national level. Now this training is from intermediate all the way up to pro fighting. We'd like to go ahead and invite everybody that's out there in the Valley to come inside and improve their wrestling. Anybody that wants to learn takedowns, anything like that, then go ahead and contact us.
There it is, man. Warrior Wrestling Academy. Wrestling as a base is so important for what we're about to talk about in UFC. And pretty much south of San Antonio, there is no wrestling academies but his. Wrestling is a great opportunity for these kids. I got a few cousins in the Houston area who went to Katy High School who were able to get their college paid for. They were state wrestlers, went to the state championship, were in the tournament, and they're able to go to college because of wrestling. So shout out Ramon Rodriguez for the program, for working with the youth, staying here in the Valley and not going up north to work in a academy up north, man.
Yeah, man. Shout out Warrior Wrestling Academy. That's pretty cool to see. It looks like they've got, a decent amount of members in that gym as well, from what the video is showing. And it looked like all ages in there too. So, like you said, wrestlers usually, in betting MMA, usually you want to side with the wrestlers because you know that that's a very good base. You know that they'll be able to control the fight inside of the octagon. So shout out all the wrestlers out there.
Well, let's get into the first fight, Ben. Pretty clutch that we're talking about wrestling because we're about to talk about the girl with the best wrestling base in this division, Carla Esparza. She's the champion. This is her first title defense, right? For this title reign, because she just won the belt, correct?
Right. I was on her against Rose Namajunas. You want to talk about underwhelming fights? Probably the worst fight of 2021. We're not the biggest fans of women's MMA here, but that fight was solely the reason why. But yeah, Carla Esparza, her first title defense since winning the Ultimate Fighter and then getting obliterated by Joanna Champion. Here she is again holding the belt at 35 years old. Against Weili Zhang, most would say she was made in a lab, just made to be a fighter. This is what her purpose is, to become a champion once again. the odds also on this one, they got Wei Li as a 3-1 favorite to Esparza. I'm not sure. Last time I had Esparza beating Rose Namajunas, and we know Rose Namajunas has 2 wins against Wei Li, right? 2-1.
Rose has 2 right here over Magnum Weili Zhang.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're doing MMA math, you're thinking, well, then Carla Esparza is probably going to be able to do the same. But styles make fights, and Rose was able to fight Wei Li, standing up. We think the only chance Carla Esparza has is making this a WrestleFest and laying on top of Wei Li Zhang. How do you see it going, bro? Do you think that she can do it?
Yeah, so MMA math doesn't always work out, right? Like Alex is saying, MMA math is never right. But you can take, portions of fighters and say, how does that apply to the fighter she's fighting right now? Wei Li Zhang, she fought Jessica Andrade, a grappler, a jiu-jitsu grappler with power. That's not necessarily Esparza's game, but we dissect the grappling part. She fared well against Jessica Andrade when it came to the grappling. This girl is very, very strong for her division, for her weight class. We saw her picking up Francis with ease. I think there's going to be times in this fight where she's going to nullify Cookie Monster's wrestling.
But do you think that Esparza is going to be able to hold her down, get her down first, and then hold her down is a different thing? But how often do you see her getting it down? Do you see it? Maybe I think against Rose Namajunas, she got her down in 2 or 3 out of the 5 rounds.
Yeah, I don't see her holding her down for much. I think Wei Li Zhang powers through Esparza's wrestling, keeps it standing.
Okay. Yeah.
So let's move over to Carla's last 5. All dubs.
All dubs for sure. And that's what got her the championship title fight. That's what she got the win that way. Again, that fight could have gone either way, man. This is kind of just like what's that term for, it doesn't seem real. Even though I picked her to beat Rose Namajunas for the title last time, this just doesn't seem real because her game is not that evolved. Like, she's going to wrestle and she's going to hold you down.
Against the cage, hold you down if she can.
Doesn't get many finishes. And like you said, the power advantage is for sure for the younger Wei Li. She is just a bigger fighter in general. I think this is going to be a bad night for Carla Esparza, man. The Vegas odds makers obviously have it lined that way as well. -325 for Wei Li, +270 on Esparza. Listen, we went to that underdog well with Esparza last time against Rose Namajunas. This time I'm going to pass. It's 270. Those are really good odds, especially for somebody who's holding the belt. You normally don't see the champion at +270. I think the writing's on the wall. I think Wei Li, similar to the last time Carla Esparza defended her belt and got obliterated by Joanna, I think the exact same thing happens in this fight.
So do you think this is a decision fight, though, no matter what?
No, I think Wei Li's going to get her out of there sooner rather than later.
Okay. I'm going to go with decision with Wei Li Zhang. I think Wei Li doesn't have it enough to knock out some of these girls. I think Carla's a tough cookie, no pun intended. And I think we see a Wei Li Zhang decision here tonight or tomorrow night in New York. Anything else you want to touch up on this fight?
Over-under on this fight was at 4.5 with juice to the over. You did play the decision. I like the under personally, so maybe hint at the end of the pod we'll have some plays.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the third fight of the night, the people's main event, as Michael Chandler has been saying all week long. Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, some bad blood coming into this fight. We saw them at one of the UFC events, chirping at each other. They had to be separated by some guards. There was a time that we never thought this fight would happen with the way that Dustin Poirier was talking, saying, he doesn't deserve to fight me. He's just here, just got here. Well, guess what? They both signed on the dotted line and they're facing each other Saturday night. How do you see this one going while we look over Iron Mike's last 5?
I don't think that there's any bad blood. I don't think that there's any beef. I think that's just Michael Chandler trying to make the fight and Dustin Poirier trying to big league him, because Michael Chandler was coming off some losses. I don't think that there's any real blood. Maybe that's their way of selling the fight. Listen, this is 2 guys who leave it all in there. You know what I mean? Michael Chandler, you look here, since coming over from Bellator, Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje, Tony Ferguson.
Dan Hooker.
That Dan Hooker win. We don't think very highly of Dan Hooker on this podcast, people. Okay, so I'm not going to give him too much credit for a fight where Dan Hooker looked like a deer in the headlights and, was out of there pretty quick.
Yep.
So he's fought all the top guys, but he's not winning those fights against those top guys. He's losing to DuBronx. He's losing to Gaethje. That Tony Ferguson fight, hell of a KO, but
he got touched up.
Huge Tony Ferguson fan, but we also know Tony Ferguson, he shouldn't have lost the first round the way that he did to Tony Ferguson. Hell of a front kick. It was up there for knockout of the year for sure. Mm-hmm. But we're not going to tip our hat to you knocking out Tony Ferguson, in 2022. So I know you're a huge Michael Chandler fan. Me on the other side, I think that he's average, bro. I think that, yes, he might have been the class of Bellator. And even then, he had lost that title fight where his leg gave out on him. But I just think that he's an above average fighter. He's an exciting fighter. He's a gatekeeper. But I don't think that he's somebody to be, taken that serious. He puts on fun fights. If he knocks you out, he's going to win. If he doesn't, he's probably going to lose. And, I like the fights that he puts on, but I don't think that he's the most skilled fighter.
Yeah, so like Ben said, Mike's one of my favorite fighters, Michael Chandler. He's very exciting to watch, but that's what it is, and I've come to accept that. He doesn't use his full spectrum of skills. We never see him wrestle. If Iron Mike wrestled with his, Division I wrestling
stop
pedigree.
Calling him Iron Mike. Stop.
Okay, Michael Chandler. Okay. It's it's just what it is. But if he wrestled, bro, if he really, decided I'm gonna take Dustin to the ground, he could be a problem for Dustin. Unfortunately, we see he never wants to use any of that grappling. The dude wants to stand and bang and put on a show. And like he's saying already, you already know what you're gonna expect from him. He wants to be the people's main event Saturday night. So we fully plan on seeing him to do a striking fest. And guess what? Dustin is probably the better striker. I don't know if he's the best, but he's probably the better striker in that division. So
overall, he's a better striker than Michael Chandler. Does he have more power than Michael Chandler? Definitely doesn't have more one-hit power than Michael Chandler, but he puts it together a lot better. I like, Poirier in the pocket a lot more than I like Chandler. And here for Poirier, man, Charles Oliveira, we know that he lost by submission. Prior to that, beat Conor twice. That first Conor win, I'm going to give it to him. The second one, he was going to beat Conor, but it's Conor McGregor, man. You know what I mean? So
it's not the same Conor.
Right. And when we've seen Dustin Poirier lose, we've seen him lose when he's been taken to the ground. Like you said, it's the same thing that people say about Justin Gaethje. Oh, he's this all-American wrestler from Arizona
Never
State.
Wants to use it.
They never use it. It's all about IQ. And IQ, I want to back Poirier in this fight. I think that it's going to be scary. I think that it's going to be scary in the first round. Michael Chandler might touch him, rock him. I don't expect Dustin Poirier to be put out. He's, always says, I'm ready to leave a piece of me in there, on Saturday night. We know that that's the type of fighter that he is. Wears a chip on his shoulder, heart on his sleeve. The odds, Dustin Poirier minus 215, Michael Chandler plus 185. Over under in this fight is at 1.5 rounds. I like Poirier in the later rounds. I like him to withstand that storm in the first round. I think it's going to be puro vergazos, like Edgar says in the comments. It's going to be a firefight. I hope that it ends up, being a fight in a phone booth, because that's where I think Dustin Poirier has the better dirty boxing, the clinch game, and whatnot. If anybody takes it to the ground, I think that it will be Poirier. We've seen him do it before, when fighting strikers, Eddie Alvarez and whatnot. So
Conor for that first time.
Conor McGregor as well. I like Poirier.
Or the second first time.
Yeah, give me the higher IQ guy. 2-1. No, I won't be making a play on Poirier here. Could be a parlay piece, but it's a tricky fight. It's a fun fight. I think this is one that we should just sit back and enjoy the violence that's going to take place.
Yeah, I think you teed it up very nice, Ben. I'm with you on this. No IQ from my guy, Michael Chandler. And you don't want to be trading with Poirier, who's poised and can really return some of those shots with the counters. Give me Poirier here. I don't think he knocks out Chandler. I think 3 rounds is not enough to get the knockout on Chandler. If it was a 5-round fight, I think he could finish Chandler. But we saw like with Gaethje and when Chandler was getting touched up, he still didn't go down. He still gassed out before he went down. So that's the key: surviving that first round, not getting gassed out by Chandler if he wants to make it a longer fight. But I don't see it for him this Saturday night. Give me chalk, and I'll take Dustin Poirier.
What do you think the winner of this fight? Like, what's on the line for the winner of this fight? Are they still in line for a title shot against Islam? Neither guy has fought Islam Makhachev. What happens with the winner?
I think if you're Michael Chandler, the only thing he likes to call out is a champion right away. I don't know if he gets that title fight. If he wins, even then. Dustin Poirier, there's a promotional aspect there. He lost to Khabib. Can he beat Khabib's student? So you can run that narrative. That's something you can do. But I just don't feel like
baby.
Yeah, you know me. I love a storyline. I just don't feel like either guy gets the immediate shot. I feel like with what's going on with Dariush, and I'm not sure what Islam has right now as far as the featherweight guy. What's his name? Getting the shot next, Volkanovski. After Volkanovski, I think it's going to be Dariush. Dariush says he doesn't want to wait around. He wants New Bronx. So maybe the timeline's right for one of these guys in that situation.
I think if the timing would have to be right. Shout out Roland. Let's go Dustin. Looks like it's a consensus for Dustin winning this fight from the podcast. Yeah. But yeah, man, I think either of these guys would just be sacrificed to Islam based on what we've seen, as far as Dustin being taken to the ground, looking like a fish out of water against Khabib and, Charles Dubronx. So I think that if they did, it would just be to buy some time and, put another name under Makhachev's belt.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Ben, speaking of partners, we do got to go through another partner, Top Grade Physical Therapy. I'm going to run the ad real quick for you guys.
Get in top grade shape with Top Grade Physical Therapy. Let Dr. Rufino Gutierrez and his team give you the manual therapy you need. Soft tissue massages, joint manipulation and mobilization, trigger point dry needling, cupping, plus much more. Visit Top Grade Therapy today, 2801 West Expressway 83, Suite 210 in McAllen, or call 956-854-4364. It's not physical therapy if it's not top grade. No.
There it is. It's not physical therapy, Ben. If
it ain't top grade. Hey, and how about those wrestlers? We know wrestlers have a lot of back problems, neck problems, man. If you're once you leave Warrior Academy, go get checked out by Dr. Rufino Gutierrez at Top Grade Physical Therapy. It's all just intertwining. It's all intertwining.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's look at the challenger Saturday night. Alex Pereira from Brazil, kickboxer with wins, 2 wins to be exact, over Israel Adesanya. Ben, look at the wins he has. Sean Strickland, you're getting a title shot off of Sean Strickland. What do you think there, man? That's kind of crazy,
It's not crazy when you think about, Israel Adesanya cleaning out that division and no one really being left. And as a guy who loves storylines, Justin, there should be nothing crazy about this. A guy that already owns 2 wins over Israel Adesanya, so be it in kickboxing. He has beat him twice, once by knockout, once by decision. I've been going back and forth with my buddy Alex. He was in the chat earlier. I'm sure that's why he's in here to see the take. But listen, man, plus 175 odds on a guy who's already beat him twice. Alex has been talking to me, and he's been saying, it's a different sport. It's a different aspect. It's MMA. Mm-hmm. We see 3 fights here for Pereira only, albeit those 3 fights have been 3 highlight reel KOs. Let's not get it twisted. That
one flying knee that was ridiculous, man.
That's why he's in the position that he's in. You don't just win 3 fights, however, and then get a title shot. No, he's won in spectacular fashion. The way that he took care of Sean Strickland, who had a lot of hype behind him, kind of a fan favorite with how he doesn't care and how blunt he is. Pereira dismantled him. Knocked him out cold. So this has been a fight in the making. This was a reason why Pereira joined, the UFC. And I'm glad that it's come to fruition because I'm here for it, baby. I'm here.
All right. Let's move over to the champions last 5. You got Jared Cannonier on the list. You got Robert Whittaker, Marvin Vettori, Paulo Costa. The sole loss in the last 5 comes to Jan Blachowicz, which we know Izzy was going for that double champ status, moved up to light heavyweight, and just wasn't successful that night. Ben, you got Robert Whittaker on this list twice. If you really think about it, he beat him twice.
For sure.
That's the next guy to me in the middleweight division that carries a lot of weight. Cannonier on his way out, kind of. He's getting a little older. Vettori, he's a wrestler. If you stop the wrestling, he's not winning fights. And Paulo Costa, we saw him struggle with Luke Rockhold, who's 55 years old now. So, what do you see here from the champion?
Yeah, well, to point out what Roland said, cheapest Izzy has been as a champ. He's sitting at minus 225, minus 235 right now, and that's because he was a little lower, but he's been taking money throughout the week. Listen, he's beat the who's who of the division. That's why we said Pereira's there with 3 wins, because he's beaten the top 5, everybody in the division. So this was the only thing left. Finally, though, I think he's fighting a guy that puts up a different type of challenge. You know, all those guys that we're talking about, good, you know, cannoneer, just knockout power. He's got to catch you. Costa, kind of same thing, slower guy as well. And then Vettori just, you know, got outclassed in there. I think Vettori tried to play a little bit of too much mind games, and, you know, that's just the way that he is. But, you know, once they got in there, Adesanya did psych him out, playing that, you know, rangy game and whatnot.
Yes.
So, and Robert Whittaker, I mean, he's been through too many wars, man. This is a complete different challenge. This is a guy that I think can walk Izzy down. And when Izzy's up against the fence, you know, not really with his hands up, he's got his arms out and he's just trying to get in the way. I think Pereira is skilled enough, obviously coming from the K1 background and kickboxing, that he's going to be able to cut off the cage and set those traps and actually catch Izzy. That's what I have hope for. I'm also not the biggest Izzy fan, you know, just putting that out there, but that's not why I'm picking against him. I just think that finally he's fighting a guy that is actually a match for him, a guy that's going to be able to match his footwork, going to be able to play those traps that he plays in the octagon. And it's not just going to be Izzy setting traps. It's going to be Pereira as well. So I'm very excited for this fight.
Ben, you know, Pereira's a higher level striker than Izzy is. Let's be real, more accomplished in the kickboxing division. And when Izzy left, you know, kickboxing to go to MMA, you know, he's fighting MMA fighters with MMA striking involved. Pereira was getting better at kickboxing. Now he comes in here, you're expecting both guys to stand, right? I mean, Izzy's not going to surprise us and go for some like crazy roll and try to get him down or nothing like that.
I think he's too prideful also. He's not, you know, he didn't even want to stand with him. That's how outclassed he is. I don't see him taking that route at all.
So when you talk just matchup to matchup, it's going to be standing. It's going to be, you know, a chess match of sorts for striking. I just feel like this is a game opponent. This is a guy who can get him out. But just at the end of the day, the 5 years octagon experience is just a little different. I have to throw away some of what I saw against Izzy and Adesanya when they fought each other, because the glove size where you're able to block some shots off, that Pereira was able to just, you know, parry some jabs. You can't parry those same jabs the same way when the glove is 6 ounces, 4 ounces. It's not the same. We've seen Pereira get touched up a little bit in previous fights.
He knocked him out with 8-ounce gloves.
He did. The left hook is nasty. It's nasty. The flying knee is nasty. The roundhouse kick is nasty. Everything this guy has, all the tools, man.
Where are you going?
Give me Izzy. I hate to say it. Give me Izzy, though.
Okay.
Let's look at the odds. Let's look at the odds. Like Roland said, the cheapest you're going to get Izzy. Minus 210. Pereira, plus 180.
Yeah, I mean, I think also if you're going to be on Pereira, I think that's the only way that I would go. If I'm going to be on Pereira, you got to wait till fight day. I think the money's going to come in on Izzy. The money's not coming in on Pereira. The closer it gets to fight time, the line on Izzy's going to jump higher. If you're going to be on Izzy, and if you're going to put him in a parlay, maybe a little Izzy and Dustin parlay, that's something that you should be doing now, because the price is only going to get steeper on Izzy. The money's going to come in on Izzy. It's not going to come in on Pereira. So if you're going to be on the Izzy side, take it now. If you're going to be on Pereira, wait till fight night.
Fair. All right, Ben, let's look over some of Ben's best bets for the fight. Here we go.
Yeah, so Pereira and Izzy, give me the over 4.5. Like we said, Izzy's fights have been pretty underwhelming. I think it's going to be a little bit of a feeling out process and getting the range down first, second round. If somebody gets somebody out of there, it's going to be Pereira. Listen, I do think that might be his only chance. So this might be a little hedge of going the over 4.5. But he has won a decision before against Izzy, so that is also possible. And we've seen Izzy been in some close decisions. The Kevin Gastelum one, for example. So he does fight close decisions. Give me the over 4.5 there. In Esparza and Zhang Wei Li, give me the under. I expect annihilation. I expect domination. I hope I don't look stupid, and I hope Esparza doesn't go and backpack, Zhang Wei Li around and look like Aljamain Sterling in there. But I think that she gets put out pretty early. So give me the under 4.5 there. And then Claudio Puellas on the undercard. Italian-Argentinian, I'm not exactly sure, but he's on the rise, young prospect, and he's fighting Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker, we know that the City Kickboxing guys are going to be all over the Israel Adesanya card. You're going to get all his teammates on this card. They're going to be getting money just because they're from that gym. Don't get me wrong, great gym, good coach. Dan Hooker is not that guy. Give me Puellas. I think Puellas gets Dan Hooker out of there, and you're getting him at plus 120 odds on the undercard. So I like that.
How many guys from City Kickboxing? Is it 5 fights in total?
I think something. Yeah, surprised that I didn't see Kai Kara France on the card because he's usually always on the Izzy cards also. But you got Matt Riddell, you have
Carlos Olberg,
you have Izzy, so they're all over. They're all over.
Yeah. All right. Well, for me, I got a 3-pick parlay, super chalk. It's going to be Zhang Wei Li, it'll be Israel Adesanya, and Dustin Poirier. You pick those 3, you go super chalk. It's plus 175, Ben, which is not bad odds for you for a 3-pick parlay.
If somebody screws that up, who do you see it being?
Chandler. I think he just maybe gets lucky and sparks him with one. Maybe I'm biased. What do you know?
I think you are biased, not maybe. Shout out Rexa. What's up, brother? Happy Veterans Day.
Happy Veterans Day, Rexa. Well, Ben, I think that's pretty much it for us today in the MMA Tap Hour, man.
Where are you going to be watching the fights tomorrow?
That's the key. That's the question. It's looking like it's maybe my house, but it's not for certain. Last MMA, last card 280, I went with Roland and Ron to a little place. Josh was hitting me up last week when we went to that party. He said, let's go check out a place. That might be the spot, man. It's a nice little pizza joint, real chill. Not a lot of people there. It's special. I like it.
Well,
hopefully it stays unknown.
It seems like it's real chill and it's going to stay unknown because you won't drop the damn name.
That's what we're doing because, bro, we pulled up and it was like less than 10 people and screens everywhere. Waiter was like one-on-one service. It was, it's nice. I like the spot.
That's dope. That's dope. I get out of work at 8 o'clock tomorrow, so I'll be rushing home. Should be here by 9 o'clock. Got the pay-per-view. I'm going to order it. Gabby's, heading camping tomorrow morning, so I'll be watching the pay-per-view. Alex. I'll be watching the pay-per-view by myself. Yeah, Alex, exactly right. Only 10 people in there. Poor restaurant's going to have to close down because they don't have service, and Justin wants it all to himself, dog. Can you believe this?
Hey, when you find little hidden gems like that, little hole in the walls that are good, you tend to not tell everybody,
All right, bro. Well, let's sign us out of here.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Hey,
Remember,
tune in Sunday morning. We got something coming for y'all. Special announcement.
Ooh, big announcement.
Yeah, we gotta preview that. So Sunday morning we'll have something dropping for you all, and we'll also have that NFL podcast. So tune in Sunday morning.
Ben, is this the biggest announcement we've ever had?
Probably the biggest announcement.
Probably, right? Yeah, super looking forward to that, man. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I hope y'all have a great Saturday and a good Sunday football. Let's go.